From the Home Slice News Center, this is the Daily Slice for Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. I'm D. Ray Knight, and this is what's going on. Here is the latest on the war in Ukraine. Russian forces have unleashed artillery fire on towns in eastern Ukraine, killing and wounding dozens of civilians, and began storming the bombed-out steel mill in Mariupol. Scores of people were evacuated from the steelworks after enduring weeks of shelling against the city's last pocket of resistance. The governor of the eastern Donetsk region says Russian attacks left 21 dead on Tuesday, the highest number of fatalities in almost a month. Thanks to the evacuation effort over the weekend, 101 people emerged from the bunkers under Mariupol's Azovstal steelworks. UN and Ukrainian officials are hoping to organize more evacuations if the security situation allows it. Meanwhile, the leader of the European Union called on the 27-nation bloc to ban Russian oil imports. In news closer to home, the Rapid City School District has decided to delay a decision on the destruction of books being pulled from classes at a school board meeting. RCAS says the books are being pulled from the reading list for the English 12 classes. There are 5 different books up for destruction on the list of surplus items. The school board's agenda said the district regularly discards items it sees as unnecessary or not suitable. However, of the surplus items listed this week, only the books had a to destroy listing. Amy Rose has an update on 2 murder cases in Rapid City. Amy?
The Rapid City Police Department has identified the individual killed in a shooting on Friday. The victim was identified as 22-year-old Samuel Kosick. Police say Kosick was shot and killed during an altercation with 26-year-old Julian Graham in an alley in the 200 block of East Monroe Street. Police say it appears a physical altercation over a debt occurred between Graham and Kosick. Video evidence shows Kosick beating Graham with a blunt instrument before Graham shot him. Also, a Rapid City man charged in a fatal shooting at the Grand Gateway Hotel in March has entered a plea of not guilty. 19-year-old Quincy Bearrobe entered his plea in 7th Circuit Court on Monday. He was originally charged with aggravated assault and commission of a felony with a firearm. That was later upgraded to a charge of second-degree murder after the victim, 19-year-old Myron Poirier, died from his injuries.
Advocates for legalizing recreational marijuana in South Dakota have submitted thousands of petition signatures to the Secretary of State. They say they've collected enough to place the initiative on the November ballot. South Dakotans for Better Marijuana Laws has scrambled in recent days to gather the nearly 17,000 petition signatures required to place the proposed law on the ballot. Matt Schweik, campaign director of the organization, says the campaign evaluated the petitions and estimates it has over 19,000 valid signatures. In national news, President Joe Biden plans to highlight deficit reduction in remarks noting that the government will pay down the national debt this quarter for the first time in 6 years. In remarks Wednesday, Biden will stress how strong job gains have increased total incomes and led to additional tax revenues that have improved the government's balance sheet. The Treasury Department estimates that this fiscal year's budget deficit will decline $1.5 trillion. That decrease marks an improvement from initial forecasts and would likely put the annual deficit below $1.3 trillion. Protesters in several cities have taken to the streets in response to the leaked Supreme Court opinion that may overturn Roe v. Wade. One protest turned violent. Chrissy Davies has more.
A Los Angeles protest over the leaked U.S. Supreme Court draft opinion that would throw out Roe v. Wade briefly turned into a skirmish with police, who say one officer was injured. A citywide police tactical alert was declared after a Tuesday night confrontation near downtown's Pershing Square. Authorities say about 250 people had been marching peacefully for abortion rights before the clash. LAPD Chief Michael Moore says some demonstrators threw rocks and bottles at officers. One officer was struck with a baton. There was no immediate word of any arrests, and the crowd mostly dispersed after a large police presence was called in. It was the only violence reported among demonstrations held around the country. About 1,000 people gathered outside the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. Smaller gatherings were held in Atlanta, Austin, Texas, and in Manhattan, where New York State Attorney General Letitia James announced that nearly 2 decades ago, she walked proudly into Planned Parenthood and had an abortion.
Comedian Dave Chappelle was tackled during a performance at the Hollywood Bowl last night. Security guards then overpowered the attacker, who was taken by ambulance from the scene. Chappelle was able to continue his performance, joking with Jamie Foxx about the incident. The LAPD said the man was carrying a fake gun with a real knife blade inside of it. Chappelle was performing along with other comedians at the Netflix is a Joke festival. Your weather forecast from the Home Slice Weather Center. Cloudy with a slight chance of rain and a high of 58. Tonight's low, 38. And that was your Daily Slice for Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. The Daily Slice is a production of Home Slice Media Group, hosted by D. Ray Knight with Amy Rose and Chrissy Davies. Executive producer Mark Houston. Engineered by Chris Jacquez. I'm D. Ray Knight. May the 4th be with you.